Christmas, everybody. Welcome to the Season 3 premiere of Chris's Classic Cinema. I'm Chris Wiart.
And I'm Jayden Sparks.
So now we're up to Season 3. Who knows what movies we're going to see?
I do.
Yeah. So the holidays are around the corner, so we decided to do something interesting for our episode season premiere. We're going to be looking at movies that take place around Christmas, but aren't really considered Christmas movies.
That's a highly contested debate with some of these movies.
That I can agree with. Now, I can tell you, all of these movies have one thing in common. They're all from the 80s. So they have a wide array of different genres, from epic dramas to comedies to action flicks.
We even threw in a children's movie, which is also highly contested of whether or not it's a children's movie.
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting. So for our first film, let's get to work. Now for our first film, well, this movie isn't really set around Christmas, but it has that wintry feel because it takes place during the Russian Revolution. And this movie was a big hit when it came out in 1981. It features a really big all-star cast. And I honestly thought politically it was very interesting.
So what's the movie called, Chris?
Well, the movie was produced and directed, co-written and acted by Warren Beatty. The movie, Reds. During the Russian Revolution of the 1910s, an American journalist wants to prove that he is loyal to the idea of communism. Along with him is his wife, another journalist, but due to personal relationship troubles and that, it causes really strange shifts between their relationship. Along with the Russian Revolution changing the course of history. Now I gotta say, I mean, the concept is really interesting. This is a biopic of a very influential journalist from the 1910s, John Reed, who is famous for writing a very detailed book about the Russian Revolution called 10 Days That Shook the World. He was married to another journalist named Louise Bryant, played by Diane Keaton, and you can see that they're in a very small group of people who have very extreme left-wing political opinions. One of them includes one of the most influential playwrights of American theater, Eugene O'Neill, played in this film by Jack Nicholson. Now, the movie is over 3 hours long, so it may get a little too long to understand, but you gotta admit, the political aspects does keep you interested in it.
I disagree heavily with that sentiment. While it's really interesting from a philosophical and political standpoint, almost so much so that we'd be doing it an injustice reviewing the movie in under 15 minutes, it does a pretty dry watch, and a pretty slow watch is that as well.
In my opinion, I think the first quarter of the movie was really slow because it got you it got you knowing who the people are,
right,
and what their ideals are. But as the movie progresses, then we see them in the Russian Revolution doing investigations, and then we see John Reed trying to create his own communist party here in America, and he's even going to Russia to try to get it approved.
Mm-hmm. You can probably take some pot shots, I guess, about how that went.
Yeah, and you also see the struggles of the relationship between John Reed and Louise Bryant, because not only do they may have the same political views, but John Reed is more vocal than Louise, and more determined to make his dreams a reality.
I would say, one is more of a conservative, kind of a central left, a socialist, and then the other one is a true communist. Because it was very seldomly used, the word communist, but there were other there were other political terms thrown around to describe some of the other side characters.
Yeah, I mean,
like anarchists. There were anarchists involved.
anyone. I mean, the reason for the title is because anyone that was left wing were called Reds. That's why the movie is called that. But along with that, it also has you also have other people too. I mean, like I said, you have Jack Nicholson as the playwright Eugene O'Neill, who wants to have an affair with Louise Bryant. And you can tell that he wants to be with her, but he knows that she cares more about John Reed.
Well, not only that, but they want totally different things, right? Like, she is looking for something that's a little bit more fast, loose, and casual, and isn't, well, not casual, that's not the real, fast and loose, casual is not the right way to put it, but she's looking for more independence than anything. Something where her work can speak for itself, where she doesn't need a man in her life.
I mean, think about that. This was around the time of the suffrage movement, too.
Yes.
I mean, the suffrage movement was basically at its peak, and because by 1920, the 19th Amendment would be made, giving the women the right to vote here in America.
However, Jack Nicholson's character wanted a more serious relationship, one that was more romance-driven.
Even writing poems to her.
But she wasn't really looking for that.
Yeah. I actually looked up Eugene O'Neill, and he had a very wide range of plays during his career. He ended up winning 4 Pulitzer Prizes plus a Tony Award during his career.
And some of his playwrights that were featured in the movie would have been groundbreaking, if not earth-shattering, and just straight up controversial at the time.
Yeah,
even featuring an interracial scene. Yeah,
you also have some other people of the party too, like Maureen Stapleton as Emma Goldberg. Goldman, and she has the same ideals as John Reed, but she knows when it's time to call it quits. And you have cameos all over the place too. I mean, you have Jack Nicholson, you have Gene Hackman as the guy in charge of the magazine that John Reed writes for. You also have other big cameos like William Daniels as the member of the speaker of the Communist Party. We reviewed a film with him before, 1776. He was also famous for being Mr. Feeney in Boy Meets World and the voice of Kit the Car in Knight Rider. Now when it comes to this cast, it was really big. Now when it comes to this movie, may be considered epic, but it's not. I wouldn't call it as grand scale as some of the epic films of like the 50s and 60s.
I agree with that. I do wholly agree with that.
It's 3 hours long, but it's not as it doesn't have like those huge elaborate sets or like casts of thousands in one shot.
No.
But that doesn't mean that it's bad. When it comes to production in general, I thought it was extremely impressive.
Oh yeah, no, it was really well done.
They stayed true to like the set, to like the art direction and costume design. It was true to like the designs of that time. It was 1910s. World War I was still going on, but then after that, it shifted toward the 1920s.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, the cinematography is beautiful.
Oh my gosh, the cinematography is probably one of the few things that kind of saved this movie, because I was very impressed with some of the scenes that were in the film. Like, the ones that kind of really impressed me were the indoor scenes, the more intimate scenes, where it was kind of dark, where they really played with lighting, and the clothes were all grabby, and you could definitely sense that, this was more of a serious scene where there were serious and big conversations happening.
Yeah, and along with that, you don't really have like a lot of big action scenes, but you do see there is one scene when they're on a train and they see like the brutality of World War I when they're in Russia, because you see like tons of wounded soldiers and that. And then later there's this big action scene that happens on a train that gets blown up, and next you know, I found out that they were attacked by the White Army, which were loyal to the former Tsar of Russia.
Yeah.
So, and you see Warren Beatty just running for his life. It's like it's a scene that almost seems it almost reminds me of that scene from Sam Mendes' 1917. Especially with how the cinematography just constantly follows him.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that the guy who did the cinematography, he also did he was known for doing some big epic films. He did the cinematography for Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
And The Last Emperor, which won the 1987 Oscar for Best Picture. This film, when it comes to Reds, it actually earned him an Oscar. He's one of only like a handful of people to have won 3 Oscars for that category of Best Cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and I think he definitely deserved it.
Oh yeah, same here. Like the acting in this film is really, really good.
I mean, you can definitely see when it comes to like Warren Beatty and Diane Keaton, there's definitely some chemistry. You can definitely tell there's chemistry between them. And I gotta give credit to Warren Beatty. I mean, not only did he act in this, but he produced it, he directed it, he co-wrote the script.
Yeah.
He was basically trying to be the Orson Welles of that time.
And I'd say that he almost succeeded with this film. However, this film, again, was a bit of an epic film. And by the 1980s, epic films were kind of on the way out, and blockbusters were in.
Yeah, this was one of the last, if I recall, this was like one of the last epic films of that time to actually have an intermission.
Yeah. And, because think about what was going on in 81. I mean, we're still at peak Star Wars era. I mean, each Star Wars film was maybe, an hour and a half, 2 hours long?
Yeah, and 1981 was the year of Raiders of the Lost Ark. It introduced Indiana Jones. You also have other big films like, let me see. Well, there's mostly comedies or dramas of that year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to Reds, I mean, it's like one of the last true epic films of that time. You don't really see epic films nowadays. The most recent one I could think of was from last year with The Brutalist with Adrian Brody.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie was like over 3 hours long. And I think it was like the first film in God knows how long that had an intermission.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Reds, I mean, there's also the political aspects of it. I mean, you can tell that you can see how loyal John Reed is to his ideals of communism.
Yeah, and the thing is with this movie, when it comes to the political conversation, a lot of conversations can be had about this movie from a philosophical standpoint and a political standpoint, because it does play with a lot of different ideas and does talk about things from a more critical standpoint. Like I said, we'd be almost doing an injustice to this movie talking about it, the political aspect of the movie at all, because of how deep it goes.
I mean, you can tell that, when it comes to, like, his ideals, they are different from they end up being different from, like, other socialists believe at that time, even when it comes to the people in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were the ones that had the revolution, they kicked out the Tsar, and next thing you know, they're trying to form their own government.
Yeah, under the Bolshevik movement, yeah.
Yeah, but then their ideals change to a more, next thing you know, there's a more...
authoritarianism.
Yeah, especially after Stalin takes over.
Yeah.
I mean, this was when Lenin was still the real revolutionary leader. Now, when it comes to this film, I gotta admit, it may be very slow, but I think the political opinion aspects of the movie save it.
I do as well, and I'd even argue to a certain extent that there are a lot of parallels with the modern times of what's happening in the political landscape at this time.
We don't want to get political, but we're just saying.
Yes, there's a lot of parallels that can be drawn with other time periods, including this one with this movie. And again, I'd be doing an injustice, so I won't dive into that.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I recall, this movie did get a lot of love from critics when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it received 12 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Warren Beatty, Best Actress, Diane Keaton, Best Supporting Actor, Jack Nicholson.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up winning 3. Maureen Stapleton won for Best Supporting Actress. It also won for Best Cinematography. And even though Warren Beatty didn't get Best Actor, he ended up winning for Best Director, even beating Steven Spielberg for Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Which is a really tall order.
But the film lost Best Picture to another movie we had reviewed a long time ago, the classic Olympics movie Chariots of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, Warren Beatty also won a Golden Globe for Best Director, so you can tell that they wanted to give him credit for trying to do a movie of this grand scale.
Yeah.
I mean, Warren Beatty was a well-known name at that time. I mean, just a few years earlier, he had done a classic fantasy comedy called Heaven Can Wait. He started out in like one of the films that started the Hollywood New Wave, Bonnie and Clyde.
Yep. And that's a movie that we've even touched on in our season finale last episode.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to, I mean, you got to give Warren Beatty credit for doing a film like this.
And especially at a time when it may not have been the most popular idea. I mean, think about this as well. 1981. It's kind of towards the tail end of the Cold War. And not only that, but the Red Scare was not too long ago as well. So having a movie of this nature, when you look at Americans being, basically preaching communism, it may have been extremely jarring at the time in 1981.
That does make sense. I mean, it wouldn't be until the end of the 80s that the Soviet Union would fall.
Yeah. I mean, at this time, you could definitely see that there were cracks in the Soviet Union, but the Cold War was still in its prime at this time.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to this film, I mean, like I said, it got a lot of love from critics. I mean, it was also known for its love story with the two leads. It actually made the American Film Institute's list of top 100 love stories.
It's easy to see why, too.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's kind of really controversial about this film, in my opinion, is how the love story happened, because she was married at the very beginning to a dentist.
Yes, and but she left him for John Reed. Their relationship didn't last long because if you watch the movie, by the end of the movie, he dies of typhus. But I found out that after he died, Louis Bryan ended up marrying again and ended up having one daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who her husband was, but she did have her own kid.
Yeah.
And she ended up dying in, I think it was in like the mid-30s.
Well, even then, the 19-teens, in the 1910s, getting a divorce or separating from your husband at the time was also a very, very foreign idea and not exactly a common idea here in America.
Yeah. Another thing I forgot to mention about this movie, it actually featured interviews of witnesses who knew those people.
Who were actually part of the American socialist movement.
Yeah, you could tell they were really old. They were like in their 80s, 90s, but you can tell that Warren Beatty wanted to make this film as authentic as possible.
You could even see that some of the people who were being interviewed were still kind of cagey about what happened in those days. Because why wouldn't you? You're still in the middle of the Cold War, and the Red Scare was just 20 years prior.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to this, considering it's considered an epic film, the American Film Institute also named it as one of the top 10 greatest epic films of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, this movie is okay. I mean, you should watch it at least once.
It is a hard watch to do once. If you don't want to watch it, you could always read a biography. I know there are a couple of biographies that were written and that what this movie was based on.
Yes. Yeah, and it does suck that Diane Keaton has just died a few months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought she did an amazing job in this.
Oh yeah, she did. She did an incredible job.
Yeah, she famously lost to Katharine Hepburn for the drama On Golden Pond.
Mm-hmm.
So she had a big name to go against.
So what would you rate this movie overall?
Well, I mean, I thought it was good, but I mean, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars.
I was going to give it 2.5 out of 5 because it is a very, very slow and lengthy movie. And just like in previous episodes of Chris's Classic, I've always kind of steered away from much longer movies, especially if they're slower paced. But I would say that this is still worth watching simply for the political aspects, if nothing else. So if you're like studying political science, or if you're into that sort of subject matter, it's definitely worth a watch.
So what are you giving this then?
2.5 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, now when it comes to this film, I mean, it's not really a Christmas film, but there are
No.
scenes that there's like two or three scenes that happen to take place on Christmas. So
Yeah, and if you look up non-traditional Christmas movies, it does seem to always be in the top 10 films.
yeah, but it's definitely
Not.
yeah,
Definitely not.
yeah, and it's definitely way different than the other movies we're going to be reviewing
I would say so.
because yeah.
We're going to be all over the place. What's next stop, Chris?
Well, now that we're done with Reds, we're going to head to 1983 with a crazy comedy that features a really good cast. Now, before anything else, this movie is rated R.
Yes.
So do not show this to your kids.
No, definitely don't. And in fact, same thing goes for Red. Do not show Red to your kids as well.
Yeah, Red's maybe rated PG, but it's definitely more like an R rating in my book.
It's got nudity.
And cussing galore.
Yes.
But not as much cussing as this movie.
Nope.
Now, this movie features a really good cast. I mean, you have big comedian stars like Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the 1983 comedy Trading Places. In Philadelphia, two millionaires make a bet that they could switch the lives between a stockbroker and a poor con artist, and basically chaos ensues when they find themselves in completely different scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is basically the con artist is basically having the time of his life, while the stockbroker is basically seeing his life just shatter, and he is just on the verge of insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I gotta admit, this is my first time seeing it, but I thought it was good.
I've seen this movie many times over the years, and I thought this is another personal favorite.
Yeah, well, if anything, I don't know if I'd want to watch it. I don't know if I'd want to watch it again, because I can tell you there's a lot of adult stuff in this.
There is, but
I mean, there's cussing, nudity, violence, even attempted suicide.
Yeah, but that's not exactly why you should be watching the movie. You don't watch the movie for that kind of stuff. It does certainly add to it, but it's more of a, but it is of the time a comedy, and it's a really good comedy too. There are some really good scenes in the movie.
That is true. I mean, like I said, you have the two big stars of it, Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. You have Eddie Murphy playing this homeless con artist who instantly finds himself having the job of a stockbroker, and you can tell that he wants to be as efficient as possible.
And you can tell,
from this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And he's got a real natural knack for it too. I mean, bringing a sense of realism to the other millionaires and plutocrats of the time, who were like, wait, no, there's some sound reasoning behind what he's got going, behind his ideas.
Meanwhile, you have Dan Aykroyd as the actual stockbroker who is framed for stuff and is fired from his job. He ends up in jail. He ends up having all of his credit cards discontinued.
Completely wiped and tapped for funds. Even all of his friends at the clubs that he would frequent would give him the cold shoulder.
Even his fiance is like, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, man, you can just see how tormented he is. You almost feel sorry for him.
You do up until both Dan and Eddie get together and then bump into each other and realize what's going on.
Yes, because apparently this whole scenario, this whole switcheroo is because of a bet made by the two bad guys of the movie, who are very rich millionaires, played by Ralph Bonelli and Wisconsin native Don Amici, who we had already did a whole episode about.
Oh yeah.
And they were actually really fun to watch.
Oh, they were amazing to watch.
I mean, Don Amici, you could tell that he was in the zone.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I mean, it's just so weird seeing him. I mean, after all the movies that we watched with him, it's interesting seeing him play like this guy that has the
This eccentric, basically. This old man eccentric that was basically is definitely living the high life and is like basically controlling the world, basically.
Yeah, when it comes to this, their whole business is in commodities.
Oh yeah.
Like agricultural goods.
And orange juices. Definitely orange juice.
Yeah. And there's this whole, and you have other characters too. I mean, you have Jamie Lee Curtis as a prostitute who takes Dan Aykroyd under her wing because she feels sorry for him, and she's willing to help him out. Mm-hmm. And she actually does a pretty good job.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can tell that at first she was basically paid to kiss him to ruin his relationship with his fiancée, but then she does it out of pity.
And Jamie Lee Curtis has always been a legendary actress in her own right.
I mean, even to this day, think about her in Freakier Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and this was just right after she was getting out of her time of being in like those slasher films like Halloween. Mm-hmm. And then you have Paul Gleason as the guy who sets up the entire switcheroo. He frames Dan Aykroyd. He basically literally hides drugs in his coat to make him believe that to make the police think that he's a criminal. Mm-hmm. And he's basically the dragon to the millionaires. Mm-hmm. And now when it comes to this guy, Paul Gleason, a lot of you may recognize him because he was the hard principal in the classic teen movie, The Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. He's also in another movie that we'll be reviewing later this episode. And you gotta admit, it was a lot of fun seeing him in a gorilla suit.
It was very fun seeing him in a gorilla suit. That was great.
Oh yeah. When they're on a train, there's this New Year's Eve party, and next you know, he ends up stuck in a gorilla suit with another guy in a gorilla suit pretending to be a gorilla who wants to do it with him.
I remember that scene. Oh gosh, that's so funny. I do remember that scene, and just the look of the look to the that he gives to the camera when there's a sudden realization of what's going on. Listen, that mask may have been fixed in place, but we all knew what he was thinking. We all knew.
Yeah, and when it comes to production, I mean, you have these very good. You have these good shots of Philadelphia in the beginning.
Oh yeah, not to mention the scenes of the stock break, of the ticket room as well.
Oh yes, you have these very. It's hard seeing those shots nowadays, considering the Twin Towers have been gone for over 24 years.
But the trading floor it's a very good shot, and it just kind of illustrates how much chaos there could be.
Yeah, I mean, you have all these stockbrokers, they don't know whether to buy or sell, and it's just, like she said, it's just chaos.
Oh yeah, it is chaos. Because, this was in the early days of computers too, so it isn't like everything is purely digital.
Yeah, and when it comes to like the music, I mean, you have Elmer Bernstein did the score for the music. He was a very well-known film composer of that time. He basically did you could tell that he did like some sort of like operatic pieces in his music score.
Yeah, and it's a good soundtrack. Like, I liked it.
I agree. I mean, you also have now when it comes to the comedy, I mean,
oh, it's so good.
Well, if you're into R-rated comedies, it's right up your alley. If not, it may get a little crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're on the train during New Year's Eve, you actually have Dan Aykroyd in blackface pretending to be a Jamaican.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it would make a guy uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But then you have Jamie Lee Curtis pretending to be a Swedish woman, even though she's in Lederhosen. Then you have Eddie Murphy pretending to be a guy from Cameroon. Oh, and I also forgot the butler, played by Dunholm Elliott. And you can tell he was originally paid to basically act like his original, the stockbroker didn't exist once Eddie Murphy took his place, but once they find out this is all a ploy, he wants in on payback.
Oh yeah. The payback arc is fantastic. I love the payback arc.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot. Because there's a little bit of espionage with this, isn't there? There's a little bit of espionage, a little bit of greasy palms. There's some greasy palms.
Yeah.
With the envelope.
Oh yeah. And along with all the other crazy stuff that happens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I recall, this movie was a hit at the box office.
Oh yeah. It was good.
And when it comes to the music score, it ended up actually getting an Oscar nomination.
Not only that, but this movie is also part of an extended cinematic universe that, that shares Coming to America.
Oh yeah, another Eddie Murphy classic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. In addition, Eddie Murphy was nominated for a Golden Globe for this movie. Now, when it comes to this film, like I said, I don't know if I want to watch it again, but there were some parts of it that I really did like.
Oh, I'll watch it again. It's good. It's a good movie.
Well, if anything, like I said, there's a lot of nudity. So if you want to see naked people, I try to avoid it.
Okay. I'll try and parse that out later.
So, in the end, I'm going to give this film a score of 3.5 out of 5 stars.
I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 myself. It's a fun movie. I like it. I consider this to be a holiday movie. Not a Christmas movie, but a holiday movie. Because it starts at Thanksgiving and then goes to New Year's.
I mean, you have a whole scene of Dan Aykroyd playing a really drunk in a Santa suit.
Oh yeah. So it's definitely, and honestly, if it weren't for this movie, I would not look at gorilla suits the same way as I did before watching this movie.
Yeah, I think I can say the same thing.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would love to have one for Halloween.
Oh, you want a gorilla suit for Halloween? Okay.
Hey, I want to be King Kong, okay?
As long as I don't get to be the damsel, we'll be okay. Next movie.
Yeah. So we're going a year ahead to 1984, and this may be a comedy, but it's also really messed up.
No, it ain't.
Well, it's supposed to be a kids movie.
It is a kids movie.
It was rated PG for the time, but nowadays I'm pretty sure it would be PG-13.
Yeah, I'll give you PG-13 as a rating.
Plus, it's also part horror, too, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but it's still a kid's movie. I mean, it's fine. It's goo. There's goo.
Well, I'm sure there's kids nowadays that'll be like, what am I watching?
Yes, but not for those reasons.
I'm talking about the insane monster comedy that is Gremlins. During Christmas, a man gives his son a present of this very crazy little creature who you have to follow certain rules. You can't feed it after midnight, you can't give it a bath, and
bright lights, no.
Yeah, it can't
No
be
lights.
in light. But anything that does happen, anything bad that can happen, happens. And it ends up causing chaos in a small town when you see these little crazy creatures basically causing chaos.
The creature is called Mogwai.
Yeah, but they end up becoming these very scaly green.
Mogwai was fine. Mogwai is perfectly fine.
Yeah, but it's called
He's
Gremlins.
so huggable.
Yeah, but
He's cute.
He may be cute, but when it comes to what happens after they...
Well, yeah, okay, after Mogwai gets clones. So what happens is Mogwai gets a little damp, a little wet, and...
There's these clones that start sprouting up and...
But they're evil clones. They're evil clones that are equally as cute and furry, but are really evil. And then...
once they break the rules, they turn into green, scaly little imps that are basically gremlins.
They ate chicken. They ate fried chicken. Every time I watch this movie, I crave fried chicken because the fried chicken in that scene just looks so good.
Now, this movie I thought was just way out of my league. I'm pretty sure if I saw this as a kid, I would be traumatized.
Is it because the faces melt off?
That and the famous microwave scene where he went boom.
Yeah, well, eggs will do that.
Hey, you're talking to a guy who was traumatized by Angelica Houston's The Witches when I saw it in 5th grade.
I know. But overall, it is a monster comedy kids film, and I would argue that I wouldn't let a little kid watch it, but a 10-year-old, if I was in the room, I'd watch it with them.
I would go higher than that, say like 13, because nowadays this would be a
No.
very strong PG-13.
Nah, a 10-year-old can get by with this movie just fine, I think. Because some of the scenes are gruesome, but there is like no blood or anything, and it's not like you're rooting for these things. The only one you're really rooting for is the original Mogwai, who's just so helpless and scared most of the time that you just want to hug him and be like, "It's okay, little
I
guy."
admit the little guy is cute. His name's Gizmo.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to like the other guys, like the main, what was that? The name of the main leader?
Oh, yeah, Stripe. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, they are just spreading chaos and even killing people all over the town. You have this
Yeah.
whole scene of them cranking up a lady's wheelchair ramp up the stairs, and you just see her flying through a window with her chair.
It's very funny. I think it's funny.
I admit that was funny. But then you have these really out of league scenes, like you see them singing along with Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in a movie theater. And this movie was released by Warner Brothers, so it's I find it insane that Warner Brothers allowed Disney to let them have a movie in their film.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. What else could you keep the Gremlins docile with?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure nowadays they would be disgusted by the remake.
I'm disgusted by the remake.
Sorry, Rachel Zegler and Gal Go.
Anyways, no, but I think that the puppeteering in this movie was actually perfectly excellent.
I
Prominent.
will say that the puppetry is impressive.
It's very good. It's very, very good.
It's
Yeah,
up
they
there
got
with like
coordinated.
it's basically like a dark. I would call this like a dark Muppet movie.
Okay, I see where you're coming from with that.
This is like as crazy as like the Dark Crystal.
In terms of puppeteering, I agree. The Dark Crystal, that's another one we reviewed a while ago. I'd say that the puppeteering in this is equally as masterful. Now, I will say that like the design of the Mogwais did not age well. Gizmo, like the original, little fluffy thing.
He's basically a Furby.
Yeah. They're more Furby than anything else, aren't they? Furby with ears.
Yeah.
Furby with that ears.
Yeah, you don't see Furbies around in the market anymore. Thank God.
There is a Furby organ on YouTube.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sam Battle.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the cast. You have the boy who owns Gizmo. He's very happy to have him at first, but then he finds himself in this...
He's struggling.
Yeah, but then you find him in the middle of this chaotic scenario out of basically his worst nightmares.
Well, teenagers.
Yeah. Then you have his girlfriend who doesn't like Christmas at all because of a traumatic experience that happened when she was a kid. So, just the fact that this takes place on Christmas Eve.
It's not the only horror Christmas kids movie in existence.
What's the other?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
True. But it's definitely not as gruesome as like Black Christmas.
Or the other Jack Frost.
Oh. But you also have some crazy characters too. You have the guy, teenager's dad, who gives him Gizmo.
Oh yeah.
He gets it from this guy in Chinatown, and he gives them the warnings of what not to do,
Yeah.
and
Fairly simple instructions.
yet, anything bad, yet Murphy's Law basically kicks it in the butt.
Yeah. Yeah. Blender salesman, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it?
Yeah. And now, you also have another character who, you have this old lady who is basically, you wouldn't want to be her neighbor because she's just
Crabby.
Yeah, I mean, she wants to get rid of a owner's dog just because he destroyed her Christmas decorations. You literally have her with a snowman head, putting it on the desk saying, I want your dog gone.
Yeah.
But then,
Understandable.
but when it comes to this movie, I mean, you also have some crazy cameos. I mean, before anything else, I should say, this movie was actually executive produced by Steven Spielberg. And the script was actually written by Chris Columbus, who is famous for when it comes to Chris Columbus, he's famous for directing the first 2 Home Alone movies and the first 2 Harry Potter films.
I thought Christopher Columbus was famous for discovering America.
That was Christopher Columbus. This is Chris Columbus.
Ah.
Yeah, Chris Columbus was the director of the first 2 Home Alone movies. He also did Mrs. Doubtfire and the first 2 Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, so definitely, when it comes to the production value of this movie, it was really good for the time. Like, it was Warner Brothers putting their best foot forward.
Yeah, but apparently they used the same sets as Back to the Future.
It was the style of the time. Plus, it was 1985.
True. When it comes to the cameos too, I mean, you had some crazy ones. I mean, out of nowhere, you see the dad at this convention, and out of nowhere, Robbie the Robot shows up.
Yeah, Robbie the Robot. Yeah, he was an inventor. That's what he was.
Yeah, I mean, we'd already reviewed Robbie the Robot before when we did the movie Forbidden Planet.
Mm-hmm.
But he also have one cameo I really liked was seeing the legendary animator Chuck Jones.
Oh yeah.
Now, Chuck Jones, I mean, he was a Warner Brothers legend. He made some of the greatest Looney Tunes cartoons ever. I'm talking about like some of the greatest ever, like the ones with Wile E. Coyote, the famous Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck cartoons that basically went like the hunting seasons. You have also the iconic What's Opera Doc and One Froggy Evening with Michigan J. Frog.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves too much with the cameo.
Well, yeah, but still, it's just insane seeing such a legend in animation in a movie like this.
Well, the thing is, it was an extremely hit. It was a big hit at the time when it came out in the box office.
That is true. I mean, out of nowhere, it became a box office hit that year, and I just can't but wonder what made it so popular.
Cute fluffy thing.
Yes, but there's also some really gritty, gory stuff in it that kids would not want to see.
So what he's referring to is kind of the tail end of the movie where the creatures get slaughtered by the power of the sun.
Not only that, but you see the teenager's mother going Rambo on those guys.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like, it is, there are some really killer action scenes like that. There is a sense of danger as well. It is a fun movie for kids. Like, I would not show it to a young kid, but a 10-year-old could probably stomach it okay. I mean, look at what they're playing for video games.
Yeah, and it's just insane. I mean, this is like one of those movies from the 80s that has a very popular following.
Yes.
Next thing you know, a few years later, there's a sequel, and apparently now they're planning on doing another sequel in 2 years.
Yes, I look forward to seeing that one.
Apparently, Chris Columbus is coming back to, I think he's going to be directing Gremlins 3.
Now,
but God knows how they're going to do it in this century, let alone this time. I mean, with all the high tech, technology has advanced dramatically since the 80s.
Well, the thing is, there are some styles of movies that are making a comeback. Stop motion, for example.
Stop motion's been around for a long time. it wasn't until like the movie Coraline came out that it really started becoming a popular thing again.
Yeah, and then along with the film Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yes. But now when it comes to like puppetry, you don't see that in movies anymore because everything has to be CGI.
Yeah, I mean, you even look at some of the more recent Muppet movies. I mean, they weren't exactly the hits that they were supposed to be. But even so, I do wonder how a third Gremlins movie is going to be, because the second Gremlins movie wasn't exactly a hit. It was kind of a direct-to-VHS release, more than anything.
Yet that movie actually got some love from critics as well. They thought it was okay.
I mean, it's okay, but it's not as nearly as good as the original Gremlins.
Yeah, but the thing is, but now that we're in like the 2020s, the question is, are they going to stick to the original puppeteering techniques, or are they just going to do all CGI?
I think that if they do CGI, it'd be a disservice for the franchise, and I think that they'll probably stick to the original puppeteering, because a lot of people seem to be appreciating that a lot more, especially when it comes to reviving older franchises.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like franchises from the 80s, I mean, this was just before, I mean, this was right when CGI was at its infancy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, it wasn't until like the end of the decade, by 1990, when CGI started becoming a go-to for visual effects.
And even then, it was only playing a minor role. It wouldn't be till '93 when Jurassic Park came out where it was critical.
Don't forget '91 with Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to this film, I mean, it is just insane. I honestly don't know if I'd want to see it again because it's just way out of my league. I am honestly happy I did not see this as a kid, or else I would have been traumatized.
It's a perfectly cromulent movie. It's good. I like it. I saw it all the time as a kid. Saw it at least once a year when I was a kid.
Well, you must have not.
No, for sure. There are some parts in it where I would say is not for children's eyes. I mean, like the endings where they get boiled alive and or get literally burnt to death, and the gruesome scenes are indeed gruesome. But no more gruesome than, I'd say it's about the same level as the Marshmallow Man getting blown up in Ghostbusters. It's just goo. It's just monster goo. Like, in fact, there are plenty of movies in the 80s and 90s that messed around with monsters exploding into a giant pile of goo.
Well, don't forget the famous head explosion in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, but that's a PG movie as well.
Yeah, but it was also, but when it comes to this movie, I mean, this was 1984. This was the same year as Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And that movie was very heavily criticized for some very graphic imagery for a PG-rated film, along with Gremlins. So it was, you can honestly thank Gremlins and Temple of Doom for the PG-13 rating. Because after this, Steven Spielberg came up with the idea of, went to the MPAA rating system and told them to revise it, because now instead of just from PG to R, now you have PG-13 in the middle.
Yeah, and it's one that is still, and that's the majority of films are on today. It's like most films that are making it big in the box office are PG-13.
Yeah, I mean, especially with like superhero films nowadays.
Yeah. So, I mean, yes. So we can think two movies that basically boil down. So what it basically boiled down to is you have two movies that were PG, that had monsters explode into a pile of goo and melt into a pile of goo to think for the PG-13 system, because that's Temple of Doom.
And yet they didn't want, when it comes to like the younger kids, they thought it was too graphic for the little kids.
It is. I agree that it is a bit graphic for little kids, but for like a 10-year-old or 12-year-old or 13-year-old, nah, it's fine.
So that's why so you can, like I said, you can thank this film for getting against the PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
Plus Temple of Doom.
Not to mention all the merchandising and video games and stuff that this game came out of. Like, there's Gremlins, the NES game that is, well, also famous and infamous.
How is it infamous?
It ain't good.
Oh.
Simple that. It ain't good.
Oh. Well, I can definitely take a guess at what you're going to give this movie.
I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 5. Like, is it like the greatest children's movie of all time and I watch and obsess over it? No, but it is a but it is a cultural staple of the 1980s. It is a cult classic. It still has a massive following today. You could still buy Gremlins merchandise pretty easily. It kicked off PG-13. It's a revolutionary film for its time. It was one of the best films for puppeteering. It's a Steven Spielberg classic. Like there is just so much about Gremlins that I can talk about of why it is a good movie.
Well, you're probably not going to like me for this, but considering how insane this is, I'm just going to give it I'm going to be generous and give this 3 out of 5 stars.
Well, how many times has that been reversed though, where I've given it a really low rating and you've given a movie a high rating, especially with the musicals?
Well, I guess it can go either way.
Exactly.
You have your taste, I have mine.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we got this movie down with.
Now, I still can't. I mean, the fact that this franchise, they're planning on rebooting this franchise with a sequel, and they plan on releasing it around Thanksgiving of 2027.
Yeah.
And like I said, God knows how they're gonna do it.
I hope they stick true to the original. I really do.
Yeah, well, if anything, it's definitely not as graphic as the last movie we're going to be reviewing.
Nope.
Because this movie, it's also rated R, but it's a full-on action film, and the film we're reviewing is perhaps the most iconic Christmas action film ever.
Or is it?
Yes. Well, it's an action film that just happens to take place on Christmas Eve.
It's so heavily contested whether or not this is Christmas. But we'll get into that towards the end.
So we're going ahead to 1988 with a film that made Bruce Willis an action icon. The film, Die Hard. In Los Angeles, a New York cop is trying to reconcile with his wife when, in the middle of a Christmas Eve party in the building she works in, terrorists invade to try to steal bearer bonds from the owner. Now it's up to the New York cop to not only get the terrorists out of the building, but to save his wife and the other people being held hostage. Now this is basically one of the definitive action films of the 1980s. I mean, it's up there with like Rambo, The Terminator, Aliens.
Yeah, and it's so heavily contested of whether or not this is a Christmas movie. Like, it's so heavily contested. But overall, I really liked this movie. It's the first time I've actually believed. It's a sin for me to say this for being so into the 80s. It's actually the first time I've watched it.
Me too, and
it was good.
I've only seen like parodies of this, but I actually thought this was a really fun movie.
Yeah.
It's basically like the kind of movie you want to eat popcorn with and just watch during like you can watch it any time of the year, but all you need is a bucket of popcorn and you're like, oh my god, this is so much fun.
It's a fun movie. It is a fun action movie.
But like I said, it's R-rated, so do not show it to your kids.
It is. There is quite a bit of blood and nudity in this movie.
Plus a lot of gunfire.
And a bit of swearing. Like, my favorite line in the whole movie is is when Bruce's character first establishes contact via radio with dispatch, and he goes, "What am I doing? Ordering a pizza?" When he said that with the most exasperated, like, panic and screaming of disbelief, I laughed so hard.
Now, like I said, this film takes place in LA, so it's just insane seeing Christmas in LA.
It is.
I mean, compared it to here in Wisconsin, where we have all the snow, they don't have any.
No. And they definitely, like, let's talk about the music for a second, especially in the limo.
Yeah, I mean, you hear the song, Let It Snow, but
it's like a hip-hop version.
Yeah, and it's just so weird hearing it in a movie that takes place in LA.
But it's also completely on brand.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, this happens to take place, the whole film takes place throughout the entire night of Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And it's just, but when it comes to the cast, I mean, my God, it is just incredible.
It's such a good cast. It really is.
I mean, you have Bruce Willis as the New York cop, John McClane. And it's just, you could tell that he is
so tired of this. So tired of this BS.
Yeah, at first he's just trying to find reconciliations with his wife, played by Bonnie Bedelia.
Yeah.
And it's just, next thing you know, he finds himself in the middle of this crisis, and he's trying to stop it all by himself as the only guy that does it.
Details.
That's in. He's the only guy inside the building that has the guts to stand up to the terrorists.
Yeah. Well. But also do it smartly.
True.
Because there is others that attempt to stand up, but they didn't really. It didn't go too well.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the main villain, you have the late great Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber, and this, I swear, he shouldn't have gotten an Oscar nomination because he was so good in this role.
It was such a good, especially with how he pivoted from being like the big main bad guy to one scene where he was playing, like faking being the, just being a hostage. Not to mention the subtle accent changes that he would sprinkle in throughout the movie.
I mean, you have a guy from the UK. He's playing a German terrorist. And next moment, he's pretending to be an American hostage.
Yeah. You hear like 2 or 3 different accents. Just and they're executed, in my opinion, flawlessly. Now, I'm just an American, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But to my ears, it sounded brilliant. And even with Bruce Willis's character, with John McClane was even fooled.
Yeah. But when it comes to Hans Gruber, I mean, he has only one goal in the entire film, and it's to get the bearer bonds from the building owner, which is up to almost 700 million.
Yeah, and even the building owner, he's the CEO of the American branch of a much larger Japanese company. And at the time in the 1980s, Japan was in its economic boom. So Japan was kind of heralded as being a technological wonder in the economy.
Yeah.
That's why there's a lot of really cool high-tech computer stuff as well, which I really appreciated. Me being, a techno nerd myself, I really appreciate a lot of the computer scenes.
And then you have the guys who are outside of the building trying to help. You have John McClane's chauffeur Argyle, who it's his first day on the job, and next thing you know, he finds himself stuck in the garage of the building because he has no idea that they're in the middle of a hostage crisis.
He doesn't know for like 2/3 of the movie. He only plays. He's in the middle of the movie. He's this aloof guy that's just living it up in the limo. Making excuses to the boss to go hang with a girl later. And then it isn't until like the tail end of the movie where he finally gets some screen time again.
And then you have Reginald Vell Johnson as the cop who makes contact with John McClane. And now when it comes to this film, this was actually the film that got him the role of Carl Winslow in Family Matters. Mm-hmm. So if anything, you can thank Urkel for getting him the role.
Nope.
But still, you can tell that he's a cop that's just he's supposed to do his job, but he's being called down because of Paul Gleason, who comes back as the chief deputy of the LAPD, and he wants to try to control the situation, but he has no control of it whatsoever.
Well, not only that, he has basically he assumes he just completely writes off all the information that they're getting from the inside, assuming that John McClane is a terrorist, and, it decides, what, let's get a tank to drive up and see what happens.
All it takes is one bazooka for it to go boom.
Well, the bazooka fired a couple of times.
Yeah. But then you have some other crazy characters you have 2 agents from the FBI coming in, and they just happen to have they're 2 completely different people, but they just happen to have the same last name, Johnson.
No relation.
Yeah. Yeah, you have Agent Johnson, then another Agent Johnson, and
then they're just like polar opposites. And I liked it when you could see the dichotomy between the 2 of them when they're riding in on a helicopter.
Yeah.
It's just like riding in Saigon. I was in junior high yet.
And then you also have the news reporter who wants to get the story.
Yeah, but also does not help because ends up blowing the cover of Holly.
Yeah. Yeah, Holly Gennaro, John McClane's wife.
Yeah, which,
And
is just the best news ever for the terrorists that, the rogue police officer who happened to be there is there because of a wife.
yeah, and it's
Such a common trope. Like, toward the end of the movie, things are going okay, and then, of course, the girl gets captured.
and when it comes to the other terrorists too, I mean, you have one guy, you have a hitman, Carl, who is out for blood because John McClane happens to kill his brother, so he's just out for blood.
Understandable.
Yes, and it's just, man, the action in this movie is insane.
And you can see just how bitter he becomes, like Bruce Willis becomes throughout the movie. Like, he gets increasingly more annoyed and bitter that things are going awry.
Plus, he gets bloodier by the minute.
And dirtier by the minute.
He literally has to, like, tape his foot.
Yeah, because he walks across broken glass to escape at some point.
Yeah, and it's just, by the end of the movie, he's basically the kind of guy that's like, just take me to the hospital.
No, it's so bad that his annoyance of how things are going has become so infectious that Holly's even annoyed, and when the news reporter comes up to him, wham!
Now let's talk about the production, because
it's so good.
yes, I mean, when it comes to the building that they have in LA, it's iconic because of this movie. The building can be found, if I recall, is called Fox Plaza.
Yeah.
It was used for Nakatomi Tower.
Mm-hmm.
And for some shots, like explosions and that, they actually used miniatures of the building.
Understandable. You don't want to blow up a real live building in the middle of LA for a movie. Although I wouldn't put past Hollywood to try that.
But still, now when it comes to special effects, I mean, they can be pretty good too.
Oh, they are really good. They hold up even now, in my opinion. I think the special effects even hold up now.
Yeah, and the sound, I mean, the sound is insane. I mean, you have gunshots all over the place. You have other things like screaming and punching.
Not to mention the underlying really quiet, like in the quiet scenes, the really low and slow Christmas music that was always being played in the background.
Yeah.
Like the low and slow, just to kind of add to the suspense and the seriousness of the film.
The film editing really adds to the suspense as well.
Oh, it really does. These shots really do.
Yeah, and I mean, and did they like use the actual building as the interior shots for the movie? So there you go. So now if ever you go to LA, all you got to do is go to Fox Plaza and
the touch screen isn't there anymore. They've upgraded the system a few times since then.
I mean, it has been almost 40 years.
But even the computer systems, like, really tickled my brain. It's like, oh, sweet touchscreens in color.
Yeah.
In 1987.
Yeah, and but it also has a set. But when it comes to the cast, I mean, my God.
They couldn't have done better.
Alan Rickman, I mean, the American Film Institute actually named him as his performance as Hans Gruber as one of the top 50 greatest movie villains.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, yeah, he's a villain. But there's he has backstory, of course. He has motive, of course. And of course he becomes bitter. But he's not like baddie to be a baddie. You know what I mean? Like, there's some pretty poorly written like baddies that are just downright just mean. But he's not. He's not that mean. He even gives in to some requests, of like getting a sofa out and letting him use the restroom. Like, he's almost relatable in a way.
Yeah, and when it comes to him and John McClane, they're basically two sides of the same coin.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well, one of them there's a whole good guy, bad guy thing. I mean, you have John McClane as the guy that wants to stop the terrorists, but then you have the terrorist who wants to stop the cop.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess you can say that this is just one giant glorified game of cop and robber.
Yeah, I mean, even Alan Rickman was calling him cowboy because he kept thinking that John McClane's hero was Roy Rogers.
It's not a bad choice. It's not one I'd go with.
Yeah. Now when it comes, Now this film, was a hit at the box office. It was like one of the top 10 highest grossing films that year.
Yeah.
And ended up earning 4 Oscar nominations, including Best Sound, Best Visual Effects, Best Film Editing. It lost most of its nominations to the Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Damn crying, if you ask me.
Well, when it comes to the visual effects, the visual effects in this movie are amazing, but compared to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I think that deserved it more.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but still, now the question remains.
Oh, here
Is this a Christmas movie or not? I mean, it happens to take place on Christmas Eve,
There is a lot of Christmas imagery.
yet it's an action movie that just happens to take place on Christmas Eve.
I've always argued that if it wasn't Christmas Eve, or if it was another random holiday, or just a random celebration party, that the movie would not make the movie any less. I would argue that the fact that it's Christmas does not add or subtract anything to the film, and therefore it is an action movie first.
I guess that the same could be said about the Poseidon Adventure. It takes place on New Year's Eve, but it just happens to be a disaster film where the ship turns upside down. But the question is, can it also be like a New Year's movie?
And the question that you have to ask yourself is, if it didn't take place on Christmas, would it have done anything for the movie? I do not think it would have.
I think the same could be said for the Poseidon Adventure.
So no, I would argue just happens to be an action flick that takes place on Christmas. I do not think it's a Christmas movie. I stand by that. I can see where the arguments can take place of why it is a Christmas movie. Like I said, there is a lot of Christmas imagery. There is that underlying score of the low and slow Christmas music that was playing. There is, of course, that one scene of the elevator with the writing.
Yeah, with ho, ho, ho on it.
So there are arguments to be made. There are arguments that can be made, certainly. But I do not find those arguments to be sufficient enough to grant it the status of Christmas movie.
Well, I have to argue because when it comes to Christmas movies, this may be the most unorthodox Christmas movie, but the fact that it happens to take place on Christmas Eve, I think it makes it a Christmas movie.
Okay, I'm glad that we're disagreeing on this. Because this is a highly contested argument, and honestly, I would not let that take away from your Christmas season. Just go watch the movie and enjoy it. I mean, if you want to enjoy it as a holiday film, go for it.
Yeah, and this was a movie that actually spawned a whole franchise. I mean, you had sequels coming out for the next couple of years.
Decades even. They've got stuff coming out as recent as a few years ago.
Well, that movie got a lot of hate, if I recall.
It did, but it is happening. And it does so that the franchise still has enough weight on its shoulders to be classified.
Plus, it's been parodied so many times.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I distinctly remember one Bob's Burgers episode when one of the kids wants to do Die Hard, the musical. Next scene, but they have to compete with Working Girl, the musical. And he actually said that Die Hard, that Working Girl is the sassy sister film to Die Hard.
Not wrong. There's also, of course, The Onion has done articles several times over, featuring the terrorists taking over I remember a few years ago, The Onion did an article about Die Hard, and said just in Nagasaki, this skyscraper in LA has just been taken over by terrorists. And, they did that one year, a few years ago, for an Onion article.
Yeah, and I've even found Christmas sweaters on the internet of Nakatomi Christmas Party.
Yeah, it's definitely developed a following for sure.
Yeah, and it just sucks that when it comes to Bruce Willis. I mean, this was the film that made him an action movie icon, and this was right when he had just finished this TV show Moonlighting, which earned him an Emmy and Golden Globe.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, nowadays he's suffering dementia. It's sad to see that he's lost almost all of his memories as an actor.
Yeah, but overall, what would you give this movie?
4.5 out of 5 stars.
I agree, 4.5. But I think this is the first time we've actually may have agreed. No, we agreed on one or two other Christmas movies, but this is the first and only time this episode we actually agreed on the rating of 4.5.
Whether you call it a Christmas movie or not, it's a must-watch if you're an action fan.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm definitely going to want to watch this again.
I wouldn't mind watching it too. I mean, it's just one of those films where you're like, you know what? What the heck?
You know what's funny about this whole episode is every single movie that we reviewed today has either lingerie or nudity in it. And I'm including Gremlins.
Oh, yeah.
That was a thought when I came in here for filming today. It's like, that's like the one factoid of today's film session was all these films have one thing in common, and it's nudity and lingerie. And I don't know how I feel about that one, Chris.
Well, you're the one who came up with this idea in the first place.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I couldn't be prouder of this idea. This is probably my best one yet.
Yeah, well, who knows what movies we're going to be looking at in the future after this.
Oh, yeah, we got some pretty cool stuff coming your way. Perhaps even maybe a little mini-sodes in the future.
Oh, yes. Featuring a certain group of kids from a classic cartoon. Well, that's it for this episode. Hope you all have a happy holidays, so we'll see you next episode. Till then, I'm Chris Wiart.
I'm Jayden Sparks.
And thanks for watching this very crazy episode of Chris's Classic Cinema.